Hey friends, and welcome back for another video. I did a video a little while ago about the 6 types of foster parents, and I have discovered that there's 3 more types of foster parents, so I wanted to share that with you guys today. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Kait. Here on this channel we talk all about mom life. We talk about foster care and adoption, as I am a foster to adopt mama, intentional living, purposeful living, living your best life, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, I would love to have you subscribe and join the community here on YouTube. So there's 3 types, and I want to apologize to anybody if I offended you by not mentioning these types of foster parents. But there's 3 more types of foster parents that have come to my attention. And not that I didn't know about them, but first one is kinship care. The reason I didn't originally include this was I kind of look at kinship care a little bit different than I do traditional foster care. In kinship care, this is not necessarily a choice that kinship carers have made. This is, they've gotten a phone call saying your niece or your nephew or your cousin or whoever it may be has come into foster care. Are you willing to foster them? Are you willing to take care of them? For our agency, we have 2 types of kin care. We have kin in care and kin out of care. So kin in care, they have to do everything that a foster parent does. They have to do the pride training, the home study, all of that. They have regular meetings with social workers. They get paid the per diem like foster parents get paid. If this is going to be a long-term foster care situation, very often the kinship carers do all the courses so that they can have the per diem to help pay for these children. Otherwise, if you are kin out of care, you have to have like a home safety done. There is some stuff that is required, but there's not as much involvement with social workers. It's a lot more hands-off approach. There's no financial help, completely on your own. So those are the 2 types of kin cares that we have at our agency anyways. I don't know how it works for you. Let me know in the comments below if it's different. Kin care is a very tricky thing because often there's a relationship with the bio parent pre-existing, right? It's not, you don't know these people, you're just taking the kids. You know these people. They're your sister or they're your cousin or they're your niece or they're your nephew or whoever it may be. So there's a very multi-dimensional facet to kinship care, not only because of the relationship, but because you're probably upset or sad or knew that this was bound to happen eventually because of choices that they've been making, or this may come as a complete shock to you. You know, you thought your niece was a great mother and lo and behold, she's, you know, doing what she's doing to get her kids put in care. So we saw quite a few kinship cares when we did our pride training, and a lot of them were grandparents taking their children's children, but we also saw a lot of siblings as well taking their nieces or nephews. So kinship care does not have to be blood related. Kinship care can be anybody that has a close relationship to the bio family or that child. For example, is in kinship care. She still lives with her mom, but she's not in the custody of her mom, if that makes sense. She is in the custody of a kinship care. Mom still has a lot of her rights. She just doesn't officially have the rights. So her mom can't take her away from the kinship carers without permission, sort of thing. Second foster daughter went to a kinship care and she had no blood relation to her. She went to a family friend. Kin does not necessarily have to be blood. So this also, when it's coming to permanency, I want you to keep that in mind. Kin does not necessarily mean blood. So if bio mom has a really close friend who's willing to take on that child and wants to adopt that child, they have rights over you as the foster parent. I mean, this should come up early on and not near the end. You know, if say you've had the child for a year or more and you're coming to adoption, if a kin comes out of nowhere then, it doesn't always mean that that's the best choice for permanency for them if the child has a bond with you. But if the child is young enough, and like kin trumps any foster parent. So keep that in mind. I had friends that had a little girl that was looking for adoption. They had her from birth. They had her for the year. And then out of nowhere, an aunt and uncle stepped in. They didn't want to deal with the child while they were in foster care. And I think I've talked about this before in other videos. I don't necessarily agree with that. But in the end, they did want to adopt her. So they were approved as her permanency plan, even though my friend who wanted to adopt had fostered them for a year. Even though that happened, they still had, you know, kin trumps. So keep that in mind. Now, the thing I think is really beautiful about kinship care is I've seen it in a couple of circumstances where you have become a kinship care or a foster care to care for, you know, your family member's child, but you actually fall in love with fostering and helping these kids and then take on other kids because of that. And I think that's a really beautiful way to be brought to foster care. Yes, it's hard, and I can't imagine, I've never had to deal with it. Like, there's a lot more messy situations when you're dealing with the bio family as well. You know the bio family, they're your family very often. But to then go on and foster other kids, I think is a really beautiful thing. So that was the first one that I missed. The next one is just people with good hearts. I talked about this, you know, the religious aspect and people being called and wanting to do it, not because they can't have children, but they feel called to do it and they want to do it to help, you know, the goodness of their hearts. There's also people that are not religious and they're not doing it for any religious reasons. They just have big hearts and they want to help kids. And it's not that they can't have kids. It's not a way they're growing their family. They just see the need in their community and they want to help. So I'm just going to call these type of foster parents the big old good-hearted people. And the third, and I can't believe I forgot to mention these types of foster parents in the first videos, but foster parents that were once foster youth and they know what it's like to grow up in the system. They want to be a positive influence, a positive role model, a parent for a child that truly needs it. They know firsthand how awful it is. I mean, some foster care experiences are amazing, but foster care is born in brokenness, no matter what way you look at it. And I just love when I see adults that were once foster youth now fostering or getting involved in foster programs, and they know firsthand, you know, we can't walk a mile in their shoes. My childhood, of course, wasn't perfect, but it was pretty great compared to what most of the kids in foster care have to experience. And when you can take your firsthand experiences and turn your life around, because the thing is with foster care, it's very often a vicious cycle, right? Like a lot of the kids that I've cared for as a foster parent, their parents were once in foster care or are still in foster care. It's very often a vicious cycle and it's hard to break out of. So when you see kids that were in foster care, had a crappy childhood, but got placed in the right foster home and were able to make something out of their lives, and then they're now giving back to that next generation of foster youth, I just think that's such a beautiful full circle thing. And I want to see change. I want to see change in these kids' lives, and that's one of the big reasons that I'm involved as foster parent. So when people do it and they know firsthand what it's like to be in foster care, like I I think that's amazing that they want to create that impact and make that change in those kids' lives for that next generation. It makes me excited. I just think it's so awesome. I haven't met anyone in my like foster care reality, like in real life, that's done that, but I've heard about many people and I've met many people online that have done it and people commented on my videos. So I'm sorry, I can't believe I forgot to mention you guys in the first video, but I just think it's amazing. Such a beautiful full circle thing. Anyways, so those are the 3 more types of foster parents. So there's 9 types of foster parents. If I've missed any other ones, please leave me in the comments down below. But we all come from our own unique backgrounds and journeys to get to foster care, but it's a beautiful thing to be a foster parent. And I want to encourage you, if you've ever felt that inkling, to please act on it. Our system is so overwhelmed and we need good foster parents to help these kids, to help this next generation. It's something I'm really passionate about. Kids are so vulnerable and being placed in the right home with the right people to help them, to give them a future is life-changing for them. So please, I just want to encourage you to look into it. I know it's hard. I know you feel like you can't do it, but trust me, you can do it. And these kids need you to do it. So I just want to encourage you, please look into it. Call your local agency. Look around, ask other foster parents. Please ask me questions. I'm happy to answer anything that I can, any way I can be of help to you. Please check out my other foster care videos if you're new and thinking about becoming a foster parent. I have lots of resources here for you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching today. Like for these 3 other awesome types of foster parents. Share this video, subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.